All right, this is going to show some of the progress I've been making on my analog synthesizer. I've been having a good deal of fun. So I'm going to go walk in here. I got it started. And keyboard controller. And I'm going to pick, it says there's no MIDI devices, which means the PC keys on my keyboard work instead of a MIDI device, because I just don't have my regular MIDI keyboards hooked up at the second. And I'm going to say bring in an analog synthesizer. I could have brought in another instrument, a sampled instrument if I wanted to instead. And then pick what the PC keys only will play minor notes. And then I have 3 oscillators I can choose. And I can choose a sine wave. And then choose the volume I want to play it at. And I can phase and detune it and pan it, and I'll show that later. And then you got to set an envelope. I will set these envelopes up so they'll be presets plus you can just a flat simple ADSR. But let's set one up here. And if I play, we'll hear a sine wave played. And if I look at that, I know I do have one. So let's make this a little bit smaller. And we can, up. There we go. You can see it's a sine wave. Well, and I can switch it to, say, a square wave. Others. Or a triangle wave, saw wave, or a triangle wave, so on. And if you've noticed here with the ADSR, I could make it, I have kind of a long release. I could take the release down to 0, and if I press it down, it'll when I release the key, it'll not tail off. Release. See how fast that was? But if I set it to release, I'm going to release, and there it's going to die down. So this is the envelope for that, and I'll give tutorials how to do that. I've got attack, decay, sustain, and release, shaping the envelope. And then I also can set how aggressively it goes from attack to decay, and from sustain to release. And the other thing I can do is I can say sine wave, and let's say sine wave here. I can put a second oscillator, and it will add them together. So I will say there are 2 sine waves, and it's going to sound like sine wave, and it's just louder because there's 2 of them playing, right? But I could pan one over to the left, pan one of them over to the right. And you see those, the red and green are the left and right channels. And one's slightly louder than the other. I could phase these, so I could say, let's phase one up and phase one down. So they're going to be, see how they've gotten out of phase now? And you can get some interesting effects with phasing. I could say, and I can also detune one versus the other if I wanted to as well, so I could have them slightly different frequencies playing. I can add waves together. I could have a sine wave and a square wave. And so on. So the thought and again I can set the volume, so and if I was going to set these back to the 0, right? If I set these back to 0, the pans, and play it again, you see I'm shaping a waveform, so I'm able to do sound design here. I can add a third one if I wanted to. Let's put a saw wave, that'll make it crazy. And I'll set this at, it doesn't really matter. I'll just, so as you see, you can go ahead and actually make an analog synthesizer here.